Hey guys, Tran here again, and today I have a really special guest, Hayley Quinn. She is a leading female dating coach out here in the United Kingdom. So Hayley, let's talk a little bit about you and tell our audience here who aren't familiar with you back in the States a little bit about your background.
Oh wow, okay, so I have been working in the dating industry for 5 years now. I actually started out as a ghostwriter, writing blogs and ebooks for probably some very well-known male pickup artists. Eventually I came out of the shadows and I started doing training myself. I started coaching just men, and now I work with both men and women, sometimes who date one another. So I think I hear dating from the male perspective, the female perspective, the bisexual, the perspective, the dating one another perspective. And I work every week, I think, with about 20 or 30 women, trying to get them to meet amazing partners.
So Hayley here has an incredible experience because it's just not like guys helping guys to pick up girls, she's helping guys and girls.
Yeah.
So she has a unique insight. So Hayley, let me ask you this. This comes up quite a bit with guys. The idea, do looks matter to women? What do you say to our audience here? Do looks matter?
You know what, I know this is a question that really bothers guys. And I mean, to be honest, it bothers people as well. Like, I think that a big good thing to start with is that women experience those same questions themselves.
Really?
Like, yeah,
okay.
Like, you know, guys often think, oh, women, you have it easy, you just stand around, don't you? And then you just meaninglessly reject guys. And in fact, because I work with women, I hear women and they feel the same insecurities, like, you know, am I the right height, build, shape, will anybody find me attractive? And often you'll look at these women who are like gorgeous.
Yes.
And I work with women even through their early 20s who are maybe in the fashion industry, and you're like, oh my God. For guys, I think what's really interesting to begin with is just to start to understand that men and women do experience attraction in a different way. And I think for the guys out there, if you can kind of see the matrix and begin to understand how women are different to you, it acts as a brilliant, I wouldn't say defense, but it helps to empower you when you approach them, because you understand how those initial responses they give you are just really a demonstration of how they're experiencing attraction in a different way. So for instance, when I walk down the street, I really see a guy and go, wow, look at the abs on that guy. It's just like, honestly, that idea.
No, it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. It's so alien. And on the rare occasion you might see a guy and think, oh, he's quite nice, and that's like as good as it gets. If the guy comes over and he talks to you and he's like boring, is an idiot, doesn't have anything to say for himself, just appears very focused on having sex with you or something else that immediately dings him, it doesn't matter if he's like, I don't know, who's a hot guy,
like a Brad Pitt.
You just wouldn't want to go there. And so for women, attraction is much more of a slow burn process that I actually think happens in reaction to a man's behavior towards them. So far from it being about looks and that first impression that a woman gets, it's much more about how a guy engages with her.
Okay.
I actually had one of my male clients describe this as the difference between being objective and functional in terms of how you value something. Right. So it's not on the initial appearance, it's in how it relates in terms of you. So for the guys out there that are meeting and approaching women because they think, oh, I'm just not good looking enough, you're not even beginning the process to allow her to become attracted to you, because it's really those behaviors and how she's connecting to you and how you're engaging with her that make the difference. So women don't choose men, men choose women.
Great perspective. It's something that, you know, that I've thought of myself, but it's always great to hear it from a woman because they can really define it so much better than, you know, guys just sitting around talking and acting like guys. Yeah. So here's another question. Are there any specific sort of loopholes that a guy can really try to, you know, I know you said that women aren't based on first impressions as much as men are, but are there any things that guys can do?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is the great news for the guys out there. There are so many things that you can do. If you're not succeeding with the women that you want right now, you can begin this process of change straight away. I would always say when it comes to the loopholes, the first person you actually persuade is yourself. So if you're in a space of self-doubt and you don't think that a woman will be attracted to you, don't really feel passionate about your life, the chances of a woman being able to connect to that and being interested in you are very small. One thing that would be very, very useful for all guys to do out there is to appreciate when they first engage with a woman, what they don't really get the woman. Like
Right.
the first 30 seconds or 2 minutes, it's not even her. It's like a whole bunch of weird social conditioning.
Okay.
It's the day that she's had that day, you know, it's her previous experience with men and relationships. It's how she's been conditioned to think about relationships and romance thanks to like Walt Disney and Friends. And so
And Twilight.
Twilight, exactly. Goddamn
And
Twilight.
50 Shades of Grey.
I know, it just gets worse, right? So like, when you walk up to a woman, if you a great like mindset shift that you can do, a little loophole on yourself that will then relate to her, is if you present yourself to a woman and think, well, she's either going to accept me or reject me based on what I look like. That's when you're setting yourself up for failure, and it can start to feel really hard, like you're approaching loads and loads of women, and you feel like you keep getting the same response, so you keep getting blown out. Instead, however, if you understand, hang on a second, before I can even speak to the real woman, I've got to first of all get through her defenses, which have been built up
Right.
from a lifetime of like romantic comedy usage and guys cheating on her and men approaching her in a weird way. And it's only when you break down those layers that you can actually start to communicate authentically with a person. So a really, really simple technique that I like to teach people is called acknowledgement, which is basically if you know there's something wrong with what's going on, or if you're aware that she might have a prejudice against you, you address that first. So that
You just call it out.
You call it out, right? And then the message goes through clearly. It's like if I give a talk to a room of dudes and I'm the only woman in the room, if I don't go, hey, I'm a woman, what do women know about what guys, should be doing? Unless I say that first, the audience isn't going to listen to me. And it's the same for you when you approach a woman. If you approach her and she's with 3 friends and you immediately try and get her one-on-one, she's going to be aware that her friends are being neglected. So you have to say, hey, I know I'm gate crashing. I know I'm gate crushing. If you said, for instance, if you've got a concern like, oh God, I'm interrupting her, then you just say it. Say, hey, I know I'm interrupting you, but I really had to say. Now, that phrase, I know, plus acknowledging and calling out what's going on in the situation that either makes you feel uncomfortable or you think might make her feel uncomfortable, just clears the decks so that when you say that powerful opening line, it can connect so much better to her. And that's just one of very, very many ways that I speak about that teach you to actually improve your communication. Because if you're a great guy and you communicate that effectively, she will want to date you.
Awesome, awesome. Now, we talked a little bit about your clients. What are like a common obstacle, like a big challenge that someone might face and that you've helped them tackle it?
Okay, I'm actually going to say that one of the things that I hear from guys all the time, which really inhibits them from approaching women in the first place, and actually really I see my role not as changing people but facilitating them to connect with people better, because I work with great people, and something they might worry about is if I walk up to a woman, I'll run out of things to say.
Right.
I'm just going to stand out there and I'll go, hey, and then that'll be it, and it'll be the most awkward moment ever.
We've all had that.
We've all had that. And funnily enough, so with my client last week, for the benefit of YouTube, which we filmed on my channel, we filmed him going up to women and road testing what happens if you say, excuse me, I've got something really important I need to say to you.
Okay.
And that was it. And there was
that awkward silence.
There was a huge pause, and the only other thing he was allowed to say was, I know this is really awkward, and you can leave if you want. I'm sure it will come back to me in a bit. And what I did is I stood there with a stop clock, seeing if we use loads of acknowledgement of the awkwardness and the fact he's just going, you know what, I'm a bit nervous, so I've run out of things to say, how long it would carry on for. And guess what? And you can see this. We filmed this. Longest interaction was 11 minutes.
11 minutes.
11 minutes, where she instant dated him, and she was like, do you think it would help you if we walked? You can walk me home if you want.
I love it.
So I think what was cool about that is some of those misconceptions which might actually stop you in the first place. It might psych you out from even saying hi. If you experiment with them, if you're very authentic, if you acknowledge what's happening in the situation, you know what, human beings and women ain't that bad. Sometimes they will actually give you that time of day and they will help you out if you have an empathy for them, and also you're open enough that they can have empathy for you. And if you want to see that, it's on my YouTube channel. So I think it's /Hayley Quinn XX.
Absolutely. Now, I love the fact that you're essentially acknowledging that awkward silence, because we all brain fart. So here you're owning it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that exercise, and you guys should try it out. So Hayley, We're going to have to head out. This is lovely Buckingham Palace in the back. How can our audience find you?
Oh, well, it'd be great to hear from you. If you want to hear more about my attraction loophole and how you can really understand the matrix of female psychology, please head to hayleyquinn.com. We've got tons of great free information on there for you.
All right, we'll put it in the description. Check it out, guys. All right, goodbye from London.
Thank you.